Welcome to Forbidden Texts. What you are about to see may shock you. It may surprise you, but will definitely challenge everything you thought you knew. Stick around until the end to discover the forbidden knowledge that they don't want you to have.
You wake up one day and nothing feels real. The job you once loved, meaningless. Your friends, distant. Even your morning coffee doesn't hit the same. It's like life pulled the plug, but left you standing in the dark with your eyes wide open. Welcome to Forbidden Texts, where we explore ancient knowledge and forgotten wisdom. This isn't burnout. It's not just sadness. You haven't failed at life. You're being initiated into a kind of spiritual unraveling most people won't talk about. Not at brunch, not in therapy, not even in church. The dark night of the soul isn't poetic suffering. It's a bone, deep spiritual crisis that can wreck your identity, relationships, and sense of meaning. It's brutal. It's silent. And yet, it's not the end. Not even close. But if you're in it, or close to it, how would you even know? That's what we're unlocking today. 7 signs that you're not losing your mind. You're shedding an old self. And at the end of this, you'll see what the dark night really reveals. Something ancient, powerful, and unspeakably necessary. Keep listening. Everything feels off, but you can't explain why. Music doesn't move you. Conversations feel hollow. You smile, but it's muscle memory, not emotion. This is the first sign, the great disconnect. You start noticing a strange numbness. The things that once gave you joy, art, friends, intimacy, even nature, feel faded, like watching life through glass. You might try harder, dig deeper, push yourself to feel something, anything, but the spark won't come. People around you say, maybe you're just tired, or take a break. But rest doesn't help. Vacations feel pointless. You're not tired. You're unraveling. Even your ambitions feel alien. You look at your goals, your old desires, and wonder who even wanted those things. Was that ever really you? And before anything new can take its place, the emptiness rushes in. This is where many people panic. They grasp for distractions, throw themselves into work or relationships, anything to stop the void from speaking. But if this is the dark night, the void is the teacher, and silence is the next lesson. Keep going. You cry out to the universe, and nothing answers. In the past, maybe you felt something. Call it God, spirit, intuition, guidance, a subtle presence, a whisper, a nudge. But now, it's gone. Cold silence, like the line's been cut and no one's picking up. This is the second sign, silence from the divine. You might still pray. You might beg. You might scream into the dark, hoping for a dream, a sign, anything. But all you get is static. And that silence isn't just quiet, it's deafening. It shakes your faith at the roots. You start to question everything. Was it ever real? Did I just imagine it all? Was I fooling myself with all that spiritual talk? This is where a lot of seekers drop off. They think they've failed, that they've been abandoned. But that silence isn't rejection, it's withdrawal. Like a master stepping back to let the student discover what they've always carried inside. Because until now, your spiritual life might have depended on a feeling, a sense of being supported, a presence outside you. But the real transformation begins when you stop feeling it and still keep going. This is the desert. No footprints. No voices, just you, and the terrifying possibility that everything sacred might be buried inside your own silence. What happens next shakes even deeper. Because when the divine goes quiet, your emotions get loud. It hits without warning. 1 minute you're holding it together. The next, you're choking on emotions you can't name. Fear, rage, guilt, grief. Sometimes all at once. Like a dam broke inside your chest and now you're drowning in everything you never wanted to feel. This is the third sign, emotional overwhelm. The feelings aren't always logical. You might cry without reason, shake without cause. You try to trace it. Why am I feeling this? Where did this come from? But there's no clean answer. It's like your emotional body is purging poison from 1,000 forgotten wounds. The worst part, you don't even recognize yourself. You say things you don't mean. You isolate. You spiral. And then, shame crashes in. The old voice whispers, "What's wrong with you?" But nothing's wrong. This storm is sacred. It's ancient. And it's not coming to break you. It's coming to clear you. The dark night doesn't ask politely. It drags up everything you buried. Childhood grief, unresolved shame, unconscious rage. All the pain you locked away so you could function in a broken world. Now it's surfacing. Not because you're broken, but because the soul you're becoming refuses to carry what the old you had to suppress. And just when you think you can't take more, your very sense of self begins to unravel. Keep listening. What falls next isn't emotion, it's identity. You look in the mirror and don't know who's looking back. Not in a poetic Instagram caption way. Literally, the person you built, your name, your roles, your opinions, your dreams, starts crumbling. Bit by bit, layer by layer, until you're left with the question that burns through everything. Who am I? If I'm not that. This is the fourth sign, the ego's collapse. It doesn't happen all at once. One day, the clothes you wear feel like a costume. The next, your job title sounds like a lie. Then, even your own thoughts seem foreign, like someone else planted them in your head years ago and you've just been repeating them ever since. You begin to notice how much of you was borrowed, built from other people's expectations, cultural conditioning, survival instincts. You didn't design this identity. You inherited it. Now it's breaking. And nothing is rushing in to replace it. This is terrifying. Because the ego is your anchor. It told you who you were, what you wanted, and how the world worked. Without it, you're just there, watching, questioning, floating in the unknown. But here's the paradox. The more you dissolve, the more you start to see. You start to feel the space underneath all the noise. A strange awareness watching the collapse with quiet curiosity. And in that stillness, you realize maybe you're not the identity that's dying. Maybe you're what's been watching it the whole time. But the world doesn't pause just because you're awakening. And the next sign will make that painfully clear. You're surrounded, and yet completely alone. Friends check in, but the words don't land. Family gives advice, but it feels like static. You walk through rooms full of people and feel like a ghost. Like you're watching a movie you no longer belong in. This is the fifth sign, isolation and alienation. It's not that people changed. You did. You're not operating on the same frequency anymore. The conversations that once sparked you now feel robotic. The parties, the small talk, even the laughter, it all echoes in a language you no longer speak. You try to explain what's happening, but how do you describe something you can barely name? How do you tell someone you feel like you're dying, but it's not a physical death? They'll say, maybe you're just being negative, or you need to get out more. But they don't see the tectonic shift inside you. They don't know that every day you're watching the architecture of your soul being rewired in silence. This loneliness isn't social. It's spiritual. You're not just disconnected from others. You're disconnected from your old self. And because most people are still living from theirs, they can't meet you where you are.
A quick message. This space has become something truly special for many of us. A community of people on a shared journey of spiritual growth, healing, and awakening. Your comments and stories inspire me every day, and it's clear there's so much more we can create together, especially since this path can feel lonely at times. That's why we've created a spiritual space on Patreon, a sanctuary for deeper connection, exclusive content, and meaningful conversations with others from this channel who share your journey. Together, we can build something uplifting, authentic, and spiritually powerful. If this resonates with you and you'd like to be part of something bigger, whatever you're going through, you'll find the link in the description or pinned in the comments. Your membership not only helps support the channel, but also helps grow this beautiful community. Let's create something amazing together.
Not yet. But isolation isn't exile. It's incubation. And while no one else may understand what you're going through, something deeper is starting to stir beneath the silence. You're not going backward. You're standing on the edge of something wordless. And in that stillness, a new presence starts to emerge. One that doesn't scream. One that doesn't rush. One that waits. Quietly. Always watching. Time slows down. Not in the dreamy, peaceful way they sell in meditation apps. More like a surreal pause, where hours stretch and moments hang heavy in the air. You're doing less, thinking less, and somehow, you're still here. This is the sixth sign, timeless stillness. It creeps in after the chaos, after the breakdowns, the sobbing, the confusion, the numbness. There comes a moment, maybe while staring out a window or sitting alone in a room, where you realize something strange. You're not fighting anymore. Not fighting to make sense of it. Not fighting to feel better. Not fighting to be the person you were. There's just stillness. And inside that stillness, something is watching. A witness. A quiet awareness that's not identified with the pain, not overwhelmed by the story. It doesn't react. It doesn't judge. It just observes. And that observer feels ancient. This presence doesn't solve your problems. It doesn't give you answers. But it brings a kind of gravity, like an invisible center forming inside you. You start to feel grounded, even while nothing makes sense. You start to feel whole, even while everything looks broken. For the first time, you're not running toward a future or clinging to a past. You're simply here. That stillness isn't emptiness. It's potential. It's the space where something new is being born. Not in a flash. Not in a revelation. But in silence. Breath by breath. And just when you think this is the end, you notice something subtle, but unmistakable. A shift. A spark. A light beginning to flicker from deep within the wreckage. It doesn't come with fanfare. No lightning bolt. No celestial choir. Just a quiet moment where something inside you exhales for the first time in what feels like lifetimes. This is the seventh sign. The inner rebirth begins. You might be folding laundry, walking through a grocery store, watching light hit a leaf, and suddenly, for no reason at all, you feel it. A soft warmth, a flicker of peace, a presence so subtle, you almost miss it. It doesn't last long, but it's enough. Enough to make you realize you're no longer in free fall. That somewhere in the darkness, Roots have begun to grow. Quietly, patiently, without your permission. You notice you're responding differently. Not from fear, not from habit, but from something deeper. You listen more. You speak less. You don't need to be right. You don't need to be seen. You start saying no without guilt. Yes, without fear. You're not trying to prove anything anymore. You're not driven by the same hunger. Because something inside you is already full. It's not about becoming someone new. It's about remembering who you were before the world told you who to be. This rebirth doesn't make life easier. It makes life truer. You carry scars, but they don't control you. You still feel pain, but it no longer defines you. You've met the void, and it didn't destroy you. It remade you. And now, you see it. That the dark night was never a punishment. It was a passage. A sacred fire designed to burn away everything that couldn't come with you. You're not finished yet. But you're not who you were. And the real secret, you never were. You thought it was the end. But it was the beginning. The dark night of the soul doesn't hand you back your old life wrapped in a ribbon. It burns it. And in the ashes, you don't find answers. You find truth. A truth that doesn't need to be explained. A truth that simply is. You move differently now. You speak from silence. You listen with your whole being. You're no longer trying to fit into the world. You're watching the world realign around the self you uncovered in the dark. There's no applause. No parade. No spiritual medal. Just a steady, grounded knowing that cannot be taken from you. Because it wasn't given by anything outside of you. The chaos didn't win. The collapse didn't define you. And the emptiness you feared, it became the womb of your real becoming. People may still not understand. That's fine. You're not here to be understood by everyone. You're here to embody what you found, without explanation, without performance. This isn't about being healed. It's about being real. And maybe now, you see it clearly. That what felt like abandonment was a sacred withdrawal. That what felt like death was a holy undoing. That what felt like silence was your own soul waiting for you to listen. You didn't lose yourself. You lost the illusion. And what remains is the most dangerous, most luminous, most honest version of you the world has never met, until now. If you've made it here, through the unraveling, the silence, the burning, then you already know. You're not who you were, and you can't go back. The world may look the same, but it isn't. Because you aren't seeing through the same eyes. The lenses are gone. The filters, the masks, the roles, they burned in the night you thought would break you. Now you move with intention. You speak less, but your words carry weight. You no longer search for meaning. You embody it. Not as something you chase, but as something you are. You feel pain, but it doesn't own you. You feel fear, but it doesn't steer you. You see others trapped in the same illusions you once clung to, and you don't judge. You understand. You've been there. And now you hold a light that doesn't blind or boast, but guides. This is the quiet revolution. Not loud, not viral, not marketable, but real, unmistakable, and irreversible. So if you're still wandering, still aching, still wondering if you'll ever feel whole again, remember, the fact that you're even asking means you're already closer than you think. The dark didn't come to destroy you. It came to show you what cannot be destroyed. And now, you're not just awake. You're alive. You want real transformation. Then prepare to lose everything that isn't truly yours. This isn't a glow up. It's a death. Not of your body, of your mask. The false self you built to be accepted, applauded, loved. That version doesn't survive shadow work. This is the sacred burn. Let it happen. Let the ego unravel. Let the story collapse. Because in that emptiness, something holy emerges. Not polished, not palatable, but raw, rooted, and real. Shame becomes humility. All of it, fuel. But first, you have to stop seeing your darkness as a problem to fix. You have to start seeing it as a portal. Think about it, the version of you that's confident, grounded, expressive, they aren't created. They're reclaimed when the masks are off. When the shadow is no longer a monster in the basement, but a part of your own reflection. What does life look like on the other side of confrontation? You'll still feel pain. But now, instead of running, you'll listen. Instead of reacting, you'll respond. Because now, it's not weakness. It's signal. Integration means you don't reject any part of yourself anymore. The part most avoid. The part most never finish. But it's the one that sets you free. Real awakening doesn't look like floating away on a cloud of incense. It looks like standing in the wreckage of your old self, covered in ash, and knowing, I'm still here.